Welcome back to Focus Unleashed. This episode is extremely important. I can relate to this wholeheartedly right now where I'm at my journey, but also from past experience. I've accomplished my first goal. I've stacked wins. I've proven to myself that I can move differently. But now comes the hardest part of my journey, the waiting season. Because after success, the temptation is to sprint into the next goal with full force. You expect things to come quickly because you've already proven yourself. But the truth is, success doesn't stack instantly. It stacks patiently. This episode is about learning to embrace the waiting season, mastering patience, and understanding why it's the most important part of your breakthrough. Patience has not been something that I have had in the past. Building Focused Unleashed, going through the system, implementing it into my life, building on it, adjusting it, has forced me to be patient in a way that I've never been before. Patience is a huge part of success. I will say that it's probably the most important part. Because after you get a little bit of wins or you accomplish something big, your confidence is high. You understand that it can be done. So the thought process is we can make the next goal happen faster. And thinking that and having that past thought process, as I built this podcast episode, I thought about the saying that slow is fast and fast is slow. In my past, I've always been the fastest slow. I would try to do things at a very fast pace, trying to get it done, trying to make it happen. It didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to, and it actually slowed down my progress instead of taking the time, understanding that there is growing pains. There are things that I have to learn. Even though I feel confident in it, there's things that I have to adapt to. I would just go into it 100% and it wouldn't go the way I wanted to, and I would end up quitting. This year, I've had to take it slow. It hasn't been a fast process. Accomplishing my first goal took hours and hours and hours. So it forced me to be patient. Focus Unleashed, the system, forced me to be patient. Forced me to live in the day so that I could then step into the next day. And so right now, after accomplishing my first goal, I'm thinking, okay, here we go. It's time to get to the next one. And that's why this month is so important. Because this month has slowed me down. It's forced me to acknowledge the success, but also acknowledge how I got here. Why it's important to continue on the path that got me here. Yes, I'm moving differently, but understanding that moving differently doesn't accelerate any process. It just allows you to handle the greater expectation and issues that may arise as I go into and try to fulfill my next goal. So patience is a huge part of success. It's something that I think you have to grow into. And I would say that a lot of people don't have it. But if you can learn to master it, your path to success will be more, not less hard, but more, I would say, not easier, but less bumps. There will always be bumps in the road, but patience allows you to handle the small bumps so that you don't create roadblocks. So let's jump into the waiting season as we learn to master patience. All right, with patience, we're going to jump right into this episode. I think the first thing we need to talk about is why patience is the biggest obstacle. Patience feels like a pause. It feels like nothing is happening. It feels like you're stuck. But patience is actually the proof of discipline. It's the space where your identity stabilizes. It's the season where your confidence is tested without the hype of new wins. Most people fail here because they confuse waiting with wasting. But waiting is not wasting. Waiting is building. In the past, that's something I can totally relate to. I can relate to the fact that I thought I was wasting time by being patient, by sticking to what got me here. I thought what got you there got you to a point where then you could accelerate it because you've done all the things. You were patient while you accomplished the first goal. And while my habits and discipline and focus have become the guide of my life, and it's not something that I have to think about, it's just something that I do, it's still something that has to become the anchor to every goal that I want to achieve. So the process itself will always be somewhat slow because you have to follow the system to continue to move forward. Trying to change what got you to this point will always, not always, but most likely set you back before it moves you forward. Slow is fast. Fast is slow. So there's a danger in trying to force the next goal. After a win, it's easy to think, I've got momentum. Let me chase the next goal immediately. But here's the danger. You start forcing progress instead of letting it flow. You chase results instead of reinforcing identity. You burn out because you're sprinting without alignment. The waiting season protects you from that. It teaches you to trust the process instead of forcing the outcome. And that is ultimately what I think killed every aspect of past endeavors, even this podcast itself, right? I wanted to start a podcast last year. And I went in thinking that because I wanted to do it, I had the thought process, I had the episodes, I had everything that I needed to get started. I thought just because I did it, it was just going to take off. So I was sprinting. I wasn't creating alignment. I wasn't following the system. I was just going as fast and as hard as I could because everybody has a podcast and people are successful with it. I want to be successful with mine. I'm just going to put all the effort into it and put the hard way, and it's just going to happen. So I had a couple episodes that did fairly well. But instead of sticking to the process that I had in the first couple of weeks, I accelerated it, tried to speed it up because that success, I should be able to get more success if I do it faster. And I started trying to force the outcome. And that caused me to fall off because I wasn't gaining traction. I was actually losing it. And I couldn't figure out why. Couldn't figure out why because there was no alignment there. The identity of me and the podcast itself was lacking. So it's very important to just trust the process. That's what I've done up until this point. And after I accomplished the goal, like I said, I felt kind of lost. I felt like I was slowing down. Things weren't happening as fast as I thought they should after accomplishing the goal. But that is okay. Because the process may always seem slow, especially after you accomplish a goal. It's going to seem like it's slower because you've done it. It should be faster. But actually taking it slow will speed up the process if you do it the right way and stick to what got you here. So what the waiting season patience really does is it creates an environment where you don't feel like you're not moving. It's an environment where you feel prepared. Here's what happens. Your habits become permanent. Your discipline becomes natural. Your confidence is reaffirmed. Your identity stabilizes. Your next goal becomes clearer. Patience is the bridge between the last success and your next breakthrough. So a lot of times, not moving feels like you're standing still. But when you have a system and you follow the system, what seems like inactivity or standing still or not moving forward is actually you taking a breath, understanding that the next goal requires the same relentless focus, same discipline, same consistency. And in doing that, you will then move forward. It's understanding that what got you here is the same thing that's going to move you forward. It's not accelerating the process. It's not switching things up. It's staying consistent. And because you will continue to do that, everything that you built in your identity up until this point is going to become natural. And so where you think it's a slow process, which it is, but you feel like it's slowed down even more because you've already accomplished your first goal, why aren't we moving faster? It's because the system that you're following requires you to move at its pace and not the pace that you want to move. So you have to be patient. It's a huge part of success. I'm finding that out this year. And as I was building this episode, I felt really good as I was building this that this is exactly where I'm at. Yes, it was something I was going to talk about, but to feel it only helps me talk about it in a way that I want you to feel comfortable in listening to this because this is part of the process. This is not just something I'm saying. This is not just something, a little piece of the puzzle. This is a huge part of you creating success. So the biggest thing that we need to take away is how do we master patience for success? I had to learn this week. But here's how to embrace the waiting season. Acknowledge the shift. Remind yourself you're not the old you anymore. Celebrate the wins. Don't rush past what you've already accomplished. Reaffirm discipline. Keep stacking small wins. Consistent action. Trust timing. Understanding that breakthroughs come when identity is ready. And lastly, prepare quietly. Use the waiting season to sharpen skills, refine focus, and strengthen confidence. Patience isn't passive. Patience is active alignment. Like I said in the first episode of this month, I really, really felt lost. I knew I was a different person. I could feel it. But I had never, up until this point, I had never really sat down and acknowledged the shift, the internal alignment to everything that this program and this system was designed to help me build, but also the external shift, moving differently, I never acknowledged either. And this month, really trying to refine Focus Unleashed as a system, but also as a thought process for myself, I really had to take a step back and understand that I have changed. And in order for me to truly move forward, I needed to take some time and sit with myself and understand how much I've changed. That required a lot of patience because I'm ready to hit the ground running and accomplish this next goal. I want it fast. I want it here. I want it now. Because there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish this year. And the year is fastly progressing. And we are slowly getting to the midpoint of the year. And there's still a lot that I want to accomplish. But the worst thing I could do is try to make it happen as fast as I want it to. So this month I needed for myself, but I also wanted to refine Focused Unleashed because up until this point, it's been all about go, go, go. How do we get there? How do we accomplish these goals? And while there were moments of take a breath, document the change of your identity, document how far you've come, after accomplishing my first goal, and hopefully you are close to accomplishing your first goal or second goal, it is extremely important to take a deep breath and understand that by accomplishing that, you are moving towards the identity of the successful person in 2026 that you are striving for. In this stage, in this phase of this transformation, is very important to acknowledge, to sit with, and understand, because that's only going to help you move forward, especially as the demands of a new goal sometimes get heavier and harder. So understanding that you've changed allows you to then acknowledge that you can handle what is coming in the future, because you are no longer the person that you were when you first started this journey. Patience is alignment. And the one thing that I really had to latch on to as I built this episode was trust timing. Things will come. You keep moving forward, you keep putting in the work, things will come. But they will come when it's time. Trying to move it forward faster will set you back. So it's coming. The waiting season is not forever. It's the setup, it's the proof that you can hold the line. It's the test that ensures your next breakthrough isn't temporary, it's permanent. Because when you're patient, you don't just accomplish goals, you evolve into the person who can sustain them. I will say that that's probably the biggest change in me that I can see this year, is that everything that I have accomplished up to this point has become a permanent fixture to my identity. I don't just do the things that I need to do to accomplish the goals. They become a part of who I am. Patience has not been a part of my identity ever. But sitting here this month and really acknowledging the alignment, the internal shift and external shift, understanding what got me here, understanding that I am capable of handling more but don't need to force it, has really put me in a position to be successful beyond anything that I really thought was possible. And I truly feel that. And I think the internal shift and the external shift is setting me up to be everything that I thought I would be this year and more. So as we get ready to wrap up this episode, I want you to really grasp this statement. Patience is power. The waiting season is where most people quit, but it's also where the strongest breakthroughs are born. Patience isn't weakness. Patience is power. Patience is the discipline that protects your breakthrough. So if you're in the waiting season like me, don't rush it. Don't force it. Don't fight it. Trust it. Because the waiting season is proof that your next level is already on the way. This is Focused Unleashed. And as always, stay focused and be ready